Cruise news time. Well, in a world of ever-increasing inclusivity, there's a new cruising type that's getting popular that's very exclusive. And I can't even do it. I can't even do it. Plus, I got a woman who made a big travel mistake. Maybe it wasn't even her mistake, but it cost her a lot of money. That, plus a whole lot more. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Lido, Loca. I am your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views. Before your face. It's for your face. I'm here as a messenger of cruise newsedness for your face on a Thursday the 24th, I got a calendar right here, 24th of October, 2024, the 24th of October, 2020. Beware of the 24th of October. I think that's the wrong month, and I am no Bill Shakespeare. What I'm trying to say is welcome to Thursday, everybody. Welcome to the cruise news. And there's been a lot twirling around in the cruise news in the last 24 hours, and my head is just actually spinning. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to end, but I do have a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm glad you're here. That's what I'm trying to say. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Thursday. Let's talk. You guys ever have one of those days like where your whole brain and heart and everything, I'm just hyped. I'm hyped. Let's talk about the thumbnail story, the title story about an exclusive cruise type that is on the rise. And I'm talking about women's only cruising. I didn't even know that this was a thing, but it starts to make sense as you break it down. The story that brought it to mind is there's a story in The Independent, and the headline is why cruise lines are launching women-only sailings. And essentially, it's an announcement of a cruise that boutique river cruise company Juneau is putting out for 2025. It's a women's-only cruise across the region of Burgundy and Provence. I think that's in France, on the SS Catherine, which is a 120-guest cruise ship, river cruise vessel. And they talk about this is starting to become more of a common thing. You see it as hotels having a women's week or a women's weekend only. You're seeing other parts of travel move toward a women's only idea. We talk a lot about maybe kids-free cruising, going on an adults-only cruise, but this is really the first story I've seen about women's-only cruising. In the article that I'm reading, there's a great quote from a travel blogger, the travel vlogger Lucia Pola from Viva La Vida. She says, for so long, sailings have been geared toward mixed groups. Now lines are recognizing that women want experiences tailored just for them. You can connect with other women freely without worrying about interacting with men too. It fosters a real sense of community as you explore destinations alongside like-minded travelers. It's interesting. I don't know if you flip the script, if it would be that appealing. I can't imagine like a dudes-only cruise. I don't know what that would be like. But, I do like the idea of like-minded people traveling together. And sometimes that doesn't mean that, there's like-minded men and women traveling together. And certainly, as we've experienced life, most of us have experienced life, there is some sort of tensional dynamic between men and women as they interact societally, not to get too, sociological here, that kind of thing. So I can see the appeal of it, but I wanted to bring it forth because it was really the first time I had seen it. I'm all for it. I think that would be cool. What do you guys think? Do you think this is a cool idea? Do you like it if you're maybe a solo traveler out there? If you like it, do you like it as a woman who just wants to travel? Would you feel more confident or safe traveling just with other women? What do you think? Leave a comment below. Cruise news story number 2, one of those cruise news stories that really kind of makes you question how you live in your life, because why are you not having these experiences? It takes us over to the UK. It takes us to the Port of Tyne, if I'm saying that correctly. Port of Tyne in the UK. It's south of Edinburgh and Glasgow in Scotland, north of York and Manchester, and it's near Newcastle. And there was a partnership that went on for, I think, just one day over in the Port of Tyne between Regent Seven Seas, the luxury cruise brand Regent Seven Seas, and the luxury car maker Aston Martin. And it was like a swap. I used to work at a Papa John's that was next to a Chinese restaurant. And some nights we would make pizza and we would swap pizza for shrimp fried rice. This is completely the same thing. Travel agents were able to identify some guests that were on the Regent Seven Seas Splendor, and when they arrived in the port of Tyne, there were some Aston Martin cars there for them to drive around for the day to go down to Newcastle and explore Newcastle. And then at the same time, some of Aston Martin's top clients, they were able to board and tour the luxury cruise ship, the Regent Seven Seas Splendor. So like I said, it's just like swapping, you know, cheese pizza for shrimp fried rice. What a day that would be. I got to call my new travel partner and be like, what day do I get the Aston Martin drive around? Hello, Walter. Where's Walter's Travel? When is that happening? But that's the way business works. But I think sometimes we forget it. We get all caught up in going on our vacation, and we forget that our vacation is provided by billion-dollar companies that have big marketing budgets. And so they're able to do all kinds of stuff to promote their business, and certainly a little partnership with a luxury car brand, not a bad way to go. People that like luxury cruising, they're going to like a luxury car. I think that's a fair assumption. I know not everybody's an Aston Martin fan, but do you have some sort of luxury car that you would like to try at a cruise port? Would you like to drive a Ferrari somewhere in Italy, or would you like to drive a BMW in Germany? I'm sure there's a nicer BMW is nice. What's a great German car? Mercedes? I don't know cars. Would you like to get off a riverboat in Kentucky at the Corvette Museum and drive a Corvette? What a day for those folks. Leave a comment below. Cruise news story number 3, an update to the conversation we were having yesterday where a 66-year-old woman went overboard on Royal Caribbean's Allure of the Seas down near the Bahamas. They searched for her for 15 hours and then the search was called off. She was not recovered. It's an interesting conversation with these overboard stories. You get some feedback sometimes. Oh, let's not talk about it. It's bad for cruising to talk about true things that happen on cruising. That's me being a little cynical. I think it's important to talk about the things that go on in cruising, that if we really want people to love this industry and love what cruising is, you got to tell everybody everything, right? So, it's a super sad story, these overboard stories. But then I want to go even further. I saw this article by my friend Matt over on Royal Caribbean blog, and he really says the thing that we're thinking, right? That every time one of these stories comes out, the title of Matt's article really spells it out. Woman that went overboard from a Royal Caribbean cruise ship did not fall. She jumped. And so often in the headlines for these stories, you see woman falls off of cruise ship, person falls off of cruise ship. And the reality is, you're not going to fall off of a cruise ship. The way that the railing is built for cruise ships, I would say 99% of the time, maybe 99.9% of the time, the only way that you are going to be dislodged from a cruise ship is because you've done it yourself or somebody has helped you do it, get over that railing. And so I think it's a fair point to make. I don't know if it is just semantics. Does it matter whether the word fall is used or jumped or whatever? Maybe it's softer to say fall than jumped. I guess the contention here, and Matt points to the fact that this was said by the Bahamian Defense Force. They particularly said that the woman had jumped off the cruise ship. But it raises an interesting point. Does using language like fall, does that diminish the appeal of cruising because people feel like it might be dangerous that you may fall off a cruise ship, when in reality, you're not going to fall off a cruise ship? So I don't know. Interesting conversation. What do you guys think about that one? Leave a comment below. Cruise news story number 4, also an update to a story we talked about the other day. We talked about that the leadership there in Juneau a little bit upset with Royal Caribbean Group for just springing the announcement about them building a new cruise terminal on Douglas Island. Douglas Island, right across the main docking area there in Juneau, the Main Street area. And Royal Caribbean announcing that they're working with Gold Belt, which is a Native American company, to build that terminal on Douglas Island, which would feature Native American heritage. And like I said, the leadership there, none too happy because they felt like they'd gotten blindsided, that they weren't really fully aware of it. And so now we have some leadership at Royal Caribbean speaking out. The president for Celebrity Cruise Line at a Alaska Travel Industry Association conference in Juneau gave a speech. In that speech, she said, "This project is an example of how we will work with destinations to help disperse visitors across the geography. We've just begun conversations with Mayor Weldon and other local stakeholders and residents, and we deeply value the input. We know we have a lot of steps to take to move this project forward, and we look forward to doing it with all of you. And what's wild, after that speech that referenced the mayor there in Juneau, the mayor issued a statement saying, oh, okay, I heard your speech, but I'm still angry. I want some sort of an apology. After the speech, the mayor said this: we're very displeased with what their actions have been thus far. And they have to prove to the community that what they're trying to do is best for the community, because at this point, we don't see any benefit to the community. That's what the mayor said while continuing to demand an apology. And well, she got her apology. Later in the afternoon, the Royal Caribbean Group released a statement through a spokesman that said, we formally apologize to the city and the borough of Juneau that we did not communicate with their team earlier on the planned port project. It's funny. So now that you got your apology, do you think they'll still be sour, not be sour? Either way, it sounds like they're going to go forward with this. Now, you may remember Royal Caribbean Group had talked about bringing litigation against the city of Juneau if they had blocked cruise ships going into Juneau on Saturday. So I think as you look at it in totality, there is a bit of a contentious relationship there. But yeah, look, they're going to work it out. They're going to work it out. And it sounds like there's going to be another cruise port there in Juneau. I can't wait to see what happens if they put this cruise terminal opposite on the other side of the water as the current cruise terminals, how that traffic's going to flow. It could be an interesting setup. So I don't know. We'll continue to watch it. Do you love cruising to Alaska? I love cruising to Alaska. And I can't wait to get back to Juneau. Juneau? Do you know what I mean? I think you do. I think you do. Now, I got to tell you about this cruise passenger that lost close to $6,500 or 5,000 pounds because of a documentation mistake. I don't even know. I don't know. We'll have to determine whose mistake it is. But before I do that, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you for being here. I'm feeling overjoyed today. Thank you for being here. If you're enjoying the show, please hit the like button, and I would love for you guys to be a part of the Loca fam. You do it, doesn't cost anything. You just hit subscribe and you get notified every day. And yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling overwhelmingly happy that I get to make these new shows. So thanks everybody who watches. And if you're brand new here, yeah, thank you for being here. I'm like this a lot. So welcome. Welcome, everybody. Okay, here's the story. This is Janice Humphreys. She lives in the UK. She's 74 years old, and she has a husband who has dementia, and they plan to go on a cruise to the Adriatic Sea. This cruise, they booked it. It cost them 5,000 pounds, around $6,500. Now, Janice's cruise was planned for June, and a few days before her cruise was supposed to leave, she realized that she probably wanted some foreign currency that she could use on her cruise. So she went to a money exchange called the Tesco Travel Money Bureau in Daventry to purchase some euros. She was going to change some pounds from euros. And at that transaction, she had to show them her passport to make the currency transaction. And in that process of showing them her passport, she left it. She forgot it. She left her passport at the travel bureau. Now, this initial visit to the money exchange happened on June the 7th. She realized that she lost her passport. She thought that she had lost her passport at the travel exchange. So she reached out to them on June the 10th. And the most information that she could get from them was that they would be open again on June the 12th, which was just the day before her cruise. Janice says in those conversations, she was never able to verify that they had her passport. So as the day of her cruise approached, she still did not have her travel documentation. And so she made the hard decision to cancel her cruise. She had to cancel her cruise and her husband's cruise because he cannot travel alone because he has dementia. And well, lo and behold, 10 days after the cruise was supposed to start, somebody called them from the money exchange and said, hey, guess what? We've got your passport. Now, if you know anything about cruise cancellations, the fact that they canceled their cruise the day before the cruise was supposed to leave, you can imagine how much money they got refunded from the cruise line. Goose egg! Zero, the cruise line's strict policies. They're not just giving you money back if you cancel the day before the cruise. And look, I don't know anybody who would be comfortable losing $6,500. So in the face of not getting a refund from the cruise line, she went back to the Tesco money exchange and said, hey, you didn't tell me my passport was here. I think you should give me $6,500. And they said, well, no, we're not going to do that. They did offer her some money, like 180 pounds, which I don't even know why they would do that. but they said, no, we can't refund you the full amount of your cruise. And so sadly, Miss Humphreys, the 74-year-old woman, she is out the $6,500 of the 5,000 pounds. There was a statement issued by TravelX that said, we're sorry to learn about Mrs. Humphreys' experience. Once we were aware Miss Humphreys had left her passport at the bureau, we tried to resolve the issue as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, we were not left any contact details. We were unable to return Mrs. Humphreys' passport as quickly as we usually could. However, subsequently offered Miss Humphreys a gesture of goodwill. Yeah, I mean, other than getting the whole $6,500 back, I'm sure that's not satisfactory. Sadly, like so many of these stories, they just turn out to be a cautionary tale for the rest of us. And what's the big takeaway with this one? Hold on to your passport. Be careful with your passport. Boom, that's your cruise news. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a fantastic Thursday. Tony for Lido. Look, until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye. Cruise news.